Welcome to TribeVibeNetwork. Woo! This is, I think, our fifth stream. We are here on a Friday, November 28th, and it's been a good day. So we're going to go ahead and start off with a quick prayer, and then we're going to go ahead and get into our agenda for today. So if everyone would just join me for a quick second. Dear God, thank you for today. Thank you for this journey and all of its ups and downs and all the opportunities, trials, and tribulations. Thank you for the strength to be able to persevere, and thank you for all the wisdom and knowledge you bestow upon us. I pray that we continue to renew our minds so that we can continue to do right by you. I pray to keep striving towards your greatness, and I continue to ask that we make ourselves worthy of your abundance. Thank you for always blessing the road in front of us as you bless the one that we leave behind. And in your holy name and by your son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. So, guys, the best day of the year has came and gone. We will have to wait another 365 days for another Thanksgiving. And that just means that we're just so far away from the best day of the year, once again. As far as ways we get from it, but so close we can still taste it. Thanksgiving to me is always a great day, not just because the food is amazing. The food is amazing out here in this household. But because it's just friends, family, food, football, and like a little bit lower stakes. You know, Christmas, you always gotta, you're always buying gifts, and it adds like that materialistic stuff to it, which I think just adds stress for people, adds stress to everyone's wallets, and it just, I don't know, it takes a little bit away from it. As a kid, it's probably obviously you're more often the favorite, but I think Thanksgiving is an adult's Christmas. Like, you just get to have the food, you get to have the fun, but you don't have to worry about dipping into your wallet for everybody, and I think that's always best. So we had a good time. It was definitely like probably our smallest Thanksgiving that we've had in a really long time. We only had like 9 people here, which we did my dad's side of the family on the actual day. And we typically had, like, my aunt was telling me a story of, some years ago, she had like 31 people when she was hosting for Thanksgiving. So it was definitely a little bit more of a quiet house, which I don't think anyone was complaining. It was definitely nice to just be able to relax and not have to be with everybody and, like, just upkeep and wear out your social battery any more than you had to. It was definitely more chill. But, a reason, like, obviously the probably the most common reason holiday get-togethers start slimming down a little bit is just the passage of time. And, we've definitely, my grandma's no longer with us. My great-grandparents were with us when my aunt was telling me about, like, that 30 people she was hosting. But we also just have, like, a little bit of, like, family drama in the boomer generation, which I hope us younger folks, we never get to that. Because I just don't really get it. I don't understand why you don't want to see family or why you don't put anything aside for those days. I don't get being so caught up in what you think someone should be doing or shame or insecurity that you don't spend time on the holidays with your family. I really do think that's a very important thing to do, and you just got to live a certain type of life to make sure that doesn't happen. If you can forgive others and forgive yourself and just strive to be better, the principles that we talk about here, I don't think that really jives with, like, staying away. I mean, it's staying away if people are toxic, but even over the holidays, you should try to muster through it to some degree just to spend time, because that's the most sacred thing we have is time on this earth. I mean, that's what it's really all about. So a little bit of a letdown. Parts of our family couldn't make it. Other like my cousins weren't able to make it because some of them had to work, which is totally understandable. I get that. We're gonna find a Cousins Day that we can get together and have some fun and celebrate the holiday season. So I'm looking forward to that. Not sure when that's gonna happen, but it's always a good time when the cousins get together. We can be a little bit more rowdy, especially without the older folks around. We can be a little bit more loose and a little bit more off the cuff together. So we're gonna try to make that happen at some point, probably in mid-December, which is exciting. Just to give you a little bit more to look forward to throughout the holiday season. But the food was great. My aunt came down, and her and my dad were cooking, and it's funny because my dad never lets me or my brother in the kitchen. Like, he'll just yell at us to get out. And, I was like, oh, are you worried that, you and Missy might start fighting a little bit like you do with me and Jake? And my dad doesn't miss a beat. He's like, no, because she knows what she's actually doing. So, he never misses an opportunity. And it was fun watching them work together. I'm sure they were reliving some of their glory days a little bit. And, it was just nice to see them being able to get out and do it. And everything turned out great. The stuffing turned out great. Green bean casserole, the turkey, some ham. We had 39 pounds of meat for 9 people. So, we did it right out here. My dad's mac and cheese probably came out the best it ever has. So it was a lot of fun on the food front. My aunt stayed the night, so we got to spend some extra time with her. We don't always see her for 2 or 3 days over Thanksgiving, and she actually she came down Wednesday and left Friday. Left earlier today, so it was nice that she stayed around and was around a little bit longer. So that was awesome. It was a great time, and it really is one of my favorite days just because it's a day for everyone to be together. Football games are good. They were fun to watch. My brother got so turned up so early on that I think I fell asleep at 4, then got sober again fell asleep, woke up at 6, and then we started playing. The family decided to start playing some Phase 10, which we haven't played in forever. And I forgot how long that game could take, and it was fun. We're all so competitive, and it was my wife's first time playing Phase 10, and it was fun watching her understand and get a grasp of the rules and how to how to phase and how to move forward, and then started watching her get really competitive with my family. They always act like I'm the most competitive one, which I might be the most competitive one, but it's not by far. Like, my mom's right there behind me, and she's just a little bit more sly and wise about it on how she shows her competitive edge. So she goes a little bit more under the radar, but it's a good time when we're all kind of competing and having a good time. So good laughs, good fun. And no real complaints. It was really chill. It was a lot of fun spending time with family. So yeah. And playing Phase 10 kind of made me think that we need to play more games more often together. Card games, board games, any type of games. We need to get that into our rotation throughout the week, especially while we're kind of staying here. Hopefully we can play a little bit more often, maybe bi-weekly or something like that, just so we can get those competitive juices flowing and have some fun. So it was a good time. We all had a lot of fun, I think, and man, just looking forward to those leftovers now. definitely looking forward to those leftovers. Man, the ham was so good too. So I hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you could say you had fun with your friends, family, had some good food, and we're just able to relax and kind of just hopefully you didn't have to work, man. I think everything should be shut down on Thanksgiving. You should get your food beforehand. Let's shut down the stores. Let's let maybe maybe shut down at 12 in case you got to do some last minute things or something. But let's let more people be home and just enjoy a day away from work and just enjoy more time with friends and family. So yeah, now we'll be waiting until next Thanksgiving, but it was a good time. So today, the agenda for today is we are going to be just talk about how we got here and have a little understanding of the problems that we're facing. Get everyone on common ground on capitalism. Is going to be a big talk. We're going to be watching a video about the cycle of capitalism and the peaks and valleys of it. Just so that we can put some content together and we can all kind of understand when we talk about capitalism, we start talking about certain aspects. It's not like a big old theory in anyone's head. Let's kind of break it down a little bit and have a little proper understanding. Because I mean, out here where I'm at, some people think capitalism is like a religion. Some people think like America is capitalism, and capitalism is just a way of setting up your economy. So we're gonna dig into that a little bit and really get to the root of what is capitalism. And have a proper understanding of its life cycle. That way we can just, like I said, we can all be on a common understanding, common ground. So when we talk about doing something different, we can have a little bit more understanding of what I mean by that, or what we mean by that. So some things that have happened here recently in the news, some current events and what's been going on. I haven't heard much about the Epstein files. I will be watching that probably over this holiday break. Not very many people are resigning. I know Taylor Greene resigned her position because of how all that stuff was being handled, which is interesting. They're saying a bunch of other Republicans are gonna step away because they can't. There's no saving it. It is that damning, which we'll find out. how true that is or isn't. Um, but if it is, and people are just saying, "Hey, I can't even defend this. I have to leave my post and leave my office," and because think about what they asked. Think about how they got there. That's not just people donating money for their campaign, but that's them asking you to vote for them, and they're just going to turn their backs on that because this is so bad, such a bad situation. If that doesn't speak to like the times and like the opportunity that's available, I mean, people are so fed up with what's going on that their leaders are quitting. I mean, that just means that something has to die and something else has to takes place, and hopefully that's a political movement for like a populist working movement, like a true populist. I know people are like, "Oh, it's impossible." I'm hoping throughout this week and throughout all this going back through American history, we realize that it's not impossible. In fact, it's so crucial to what America is that it probably needs to happen again, and it's overdue. So we're going to be taking a look at all that and seeing what tidbits and what lessons we can learn from the past throughout this week. And we're just today we're going to start with an overview and a perspective of like what is capitalism. And then once we understand like overarching like the cycle of what capitalism is, we'll go ahead and go throughout history and show our American cycle of that and how that ties into like historical events that happened throughout American history. We are going to keep it pretty American. We'll touch on some world history aspects, but I'm from Ohio, so America is one of the leading global powers, and we're kind of the ones feels like they were cruising off course. So we will kind of keep it American focus. Maybe down the road we could take a little bit wider of a view and get into world history, but we'll talk about how America has impacted other countries and how other countries have impacted America. But that's like if you were here on Monday, C. Santos, I see you. Shout out to you. You made Monday stream a very fun time. So I hope you make it back again here today. But if not, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. But we set up a plan to go. We're stream 7 days straight. These philosophy streams that we've been having, these chief chats that we've been having. We're going to do one for the next 7 days from this Friday to next Friday, one every day. And today, again, we're going through what is capitalism, and then we're going to go through American history, America's life cycle throughout that capitalistic life cycle. Because, if you look at like the Great Depression in the 1920s and 30s, and then to today, that's a huge flip, and that flip, we have rode that cycle of capitalism. So going throughout history and tying it all together and what happened where and whatnot. Like I said, the Epstein files, people are wanting to leave, so it's going to be like it's just going to maybe give us an opportunity to do something new. We have to take away from the Democrats. It can't be just the Republicans, though. We need the established Democrats to also kind of fall apart. I keep talking to people about how, whoever's in those files needs to be held accountable. And they're like, well, what if someone in the files didn't do anything? I'm not saying they got to be like put to guillotine or nothing. I think that's crazy, but we should be more on the side of people who are in the files are not like, you're innocent until proven guilty or whatever. But, we also don't take that approach when it comes to poor people in tough situations. We always assume that they are guilty. And I think we should take that same type of the same mindset that people have for, the Central Park 5, stories like that. We should take that same skew of skepticism and take it towards anyone in the Epstein files. Even if it's just the clean house. We need a clean house, and this is a good opportunity to do it. These people are corrupt. So, we got to take any opportunity we can get. And I think this is like the most, like I've said multiple times, this is the most like clear cut. You're on team A or team B. So, those of us that want to protect innocence and protect the youth and protect children, we need to take this to the 10th degree and turn up the heat on anybody that could have potentially, even if it's just proven that they knew something and they didn't do something, that should be a terrible crime. That's like being a conspiracy to murder. If you knew that this was happening, you didn't say anything, you didn't go public with it, you should be just as in trouble as those who did. You allowed this to happen, and this is one of the worst things that ever happened in American history. And there's a lot of things that have happened in American history that are terrible, as we will see throughout this next week. Let's see here. What else did I have written down today? Do this real quick. All right. Oh yeah, the National Guard shooting is pretty wild. I haven't done a bunch of research into that, but it sounds like the guy was an old CIA agent that, after being here and doing what our country asked him to do, he said he should have joined the Taliban, which is just a wild statement, and it's wild sentiment. That's got to be a wild experience for someone to have that feeling, you know. And I don't even deny our country. Like, how can anyone say our country didn't make him do something that like made him sell his soul or sell his morals or sell everything he believed in to sell out for? I mean, essentially just a capitalistic nightmare. You know, we aren't over here beholden to any sense of morality. So anytime we ask somebody to do something that goes against their views and sell their souls, I mean, they're doing it for essentially just materialistic gains. And, you know, that's never a good equation, and that's never a good variable or formula to be in. So we'll see how that keeps going. I'll keep my eye on it. You know, I need to watch one of Hassan Piker's, finish one of his videos on what happened, but probably also read a little bit of research. When stuff is this serious and life is lost, you know, you got to get to the journalists and the first-hand accounts of what happened to have any real understanding, because everyone's going to have opinion and put skew on it. And that's not like a slide on anybody. I mean, I think it's just part of the human experience. It's hard to not think like that. Yo, what's going on? BBL Dank, how you doing? Happy Friday to you. Happy Black Friday. Hopefully you either boycotted or had fun shopping, however you chose to celebrate. And I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, if you celebrate. Let's see here. Shopping, bro. I like the cheap stuff. Yeah, no, exactly. It's the only time that we actually get to be a little bit closer to the actual value of the goods we're buying, instead of having to pay a crap ton in margins just to keep the bottom line up for the shareholders. So yeah, it's nice to get it for what it's valued at. We were definitely out there today doing some shopping. I mean, when a $25 shirt's being sold for $7, it's hard to argue with that. You play games? I do. So the way I work is I do a little introduction. Right now we're doing just a little light chat. I do a little reaction, a little philosophy talk, and then at the end we have some fun. I was supposed to do a Baldur's Gate 3 stream tonight with one of my friends. I'm late to the game. I just now, just a little while ago, started playing. But today for our last little segment, we're actually going to do a little GG Salon. GG is someone that we make content with over here, and we're just going to have a little fun, doing their nails, maybe put like a small mask on today. But I do play games. When I do, I'll put it in my my header, saying what we're playing and who I'm playing with if anyone else is on stream. But we primarily talk about philosophy and data economics. What my intention is here is to get people. What I'm creating is a TribeVibeNetwork, a tribe of purposeful individuals coming together on a higher vibration, networking together to create better business practices. So the next generation can be better than we imagine. And what that revolves around is us owning our data. Essentially, data rights being held on crypto chains and linked back to you. Whatever you're comfortable sharing, all the all the power in the user's hands. But when that data gets sold to business intelligence, artificial intelligence, or just survey data over like 5-year, 10-year survey data that gets conducted, any profit of any information that's gained, you get a piece of that. Much like shares in the stock market, you can own a little bit of that profit stream. So as AI starts to scale and they need more and more reliable, quick data, or lifetime data, our users will hopefully be able to make more and more profit. Not enough to win the lottery, but just to constantly make dimes. So you can just passively be making a little bit of money by just interacting with the economy. So I know a lot of philosophy talk. Today we're going to be talking about what capitalism is and the cycle of capitalism. So we all just kind of have an understanding of what capitalism truly is, and not just like an idea of it, but we can actually have a common perspective. So let's see. So it was Thanksgiving. Me and the boys did watch some sports this weekend. Some of the games were good. The Cowboys were shocking. I didn't think the Cowboys were able to. They beat They came back against the Eagles and have beat the Chiefs here recently, so they might actually be legit, which I hate to say because, I love seeing the Cowboys fail. And after they trade Micah Parsons, I didn't think it was going to be possible. So that was interesting. I haven't watched much basketball over this little piece of time, but I am excited for the game tomorrow. Ohio State, Michigan's going at it. So we will, hopefully Ohio State will finally be able to win one instead of folding against Michigan and being able to win national championship. That still blows my mind that was able to happen last year, that we won the playoffs, but we lost to Michigan. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Should be a fun time out here in Ohio. The vibe's just always good for the game, and I think this will be my first year in a couple years watching it with my brother and my dad, which I'm pretty excited about. But don't forget, tomorrow around 7:30, we will be back on stream. Tomorrow, let's pull up the content calendar and see what we're talking about. I think we're talking about the early Great Depression and maybe even the Dust Bowl tomorrow. After we talk about capitalism today, like I said just a little bit ago, we're going to go back in time, and after we know what the cycle of capitalism is, we're going to go back to the Great Depression and then watch that cycle unfold through American history. We might get a little bit into that today with the video that we're watching. But yeah, tomorrow we're going to be talking about the Great Depression, the whys and the lessons that came from it. And we're gonna take a little extra second to really focus in on like Midwest floods and how the economy at the time that crashed, like that 1920s boom that was happening, that you see like the Great Gatsby was being, that the Great Gatsby era, the Roaring 20s, and how that was really built off like the Midwest economy and the energy that was being spent across the Ohio and Mississippi River. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. I am a Midwest guy, so we will take a little bit of a Midwest-centric approach to some of the things that we look at, just for representation. I got to rep where I'm from and whatnot, and it's a lot of people don't know about how the logistics across those rivers collapsing is a big reason why the stock market crashed 18 months later. So we're going to be getting into that tomorrow around 7:30. So come join us. And while we're talking about future streams, I am going to start, I know Saturday, and then I'm not going to be able to do it Sunday. I'm going down to church in Cincinnati. But tomorrow, too, I think I'm going to do my first workout stream, which I think I'm going to start at 10:30. I'm saying I think because I want to make sure it's like sustainable for this week I'm taking of just pushing the streams. So I think 10:30 will be a good time for me to hop on and do a little bit of talking and getting things ready, talking about what my workout should consist of, and then getting a workout in here. So yeah, we'll be doing that at 10:30 tomorrow. And then again, tomorrow at 7:30, we'll be jumping into the Great Depression and the Midwest floods that kind of were the camels that broke the straw that broke the camel's back. Were the floods that kind of destroyed our logistical system throughout the American heartland. So that should be fun. That should be a good time. But today we're talking about the principles for dealing with the changing world. by Ray Dalio. He gets into. I've watched this video before. I may have even seen it twice. I don't remember verbatim how it unfolds, but what I do remember is it does a good job of explaining capitalism, the pitfalls of capitalism, the pros, the cons, and then just talking about how, like, certain things. Every time capitalism has like three main folds, starting with the Dutch East Shipping Company. Is that right? That doesn't sound right in my head. But the Dutch East Empire, that doesn't sound right either. And then going to the British and their capitalistic fall, leading into World War II, and then how America took over the crown after that. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about that. And then, we'll pause and we'll break up different segments of it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start diving in. And let's see what we learned today, and let's see where it goes.